John Howard says this split is stupid. Do you agree?
Look, I think John Howard's right in that I too wish that the coalition would stay together. I think it was more than disappointing that the National Party took the decision yesterday to break away from the coalition. I think we're stronger together. I'm a coalitionist. I know Susan Lee is certainly a coalitionist. And my hope is that over time the National Party will draw the same conclusion that we are better together than we are apart. And as Susan's made clear, our door as a Liberal Party remains open.
So what happened?
Well, I think it really came down to two key things, James. Firstly, the process of policy formulation, and secondly, the issue of shadow cabinet solidarity. On process formulation, you might recall that when Susan was elected as our leader last week, she made it very clear that she wanted to engage with the Australian public, really wanted to listen so we can meet Australians where they're at. She also made a commitment to have a style of leadership which is very inclusive of the party room. So each Liberal MP and Senator, each of whom have been duly elected, can have their say on policy. The National Party brought to her a series of policies that they wanted signed off as part of the coalition agreement, which is highly unusual for any coalition agreement. To do so would have been a breach immediately of that compact which Susan had made to the party and to the Australian people. At no point did she say that any of those policies couldn't be reached, couldn't be settled at some point maybe, but we had to deliver on what we had promised the Australian people. There's a process. That process has worked for many, many years. Where there might be differences, the two parties sorted out. That was the approach that Susan had. And then on cabinet solidarity, this is really important, James. We couldn't get a guarantee from the National Party that they would honour shadow cabinet solidarity. So where you have an issue that's thrashed out in shadow cabinet, and I've been in that room, it's not always thrashed out between the Libs and the Nats, by the way. They're just good, healthy debate. But once you come to a conclusion, that is the conclusion of the shadow cabinet. You are a united force. You have solidarity. We couldn't get a guarantee from the National Party that they would honour that, which of course would lead to a situation where you might actually have shadow cabinet ministers sitting on different sides of the parliament voting differently on legislation. That too would have been untenable. Yeah, the government would have had a lot of fun with that. Now, you're part of the LNP. That's the same party as David Littleproud. It's also the same party as Matt Canavan. Is it true that you pulled out of a media performance this morning because you didn't want a media slot, because you didn't want to be alongside Matt Canavan? Is the blood that bad? No, the blood's not that bad at all, and I'll have to have a chat to Matt at some point this morning. So I don't know the full history, but exactly what happened there, mate. To be honest, James, I was asked this in an interview only about 10 minutes ago, and so as far as I was concerned, there was some confusion about who would be with me on the show. It went from, I think, Anastasia Palaszczuk to Matt. We were thinking, so anyway, it was a bit of a... Sure. As I've said before, though, I'm happy to go back on. I've never said no to an interview, right? So I'm happy to appear anywhere. No, so we appreciate you coming on here on the ABC anyway. Susan Lee, Angus Taylor, Dan Tehan are all prominent Liberals that hold rural seats, seats that the Nationals sometimes would like to see as theirs. Are you going to run candidates against them at the next election? And can you seriously see a reconciling of this relationship before Australians go to the polls in 3 years' time? Well, the latter part first. I absolutely hope that this relationship comes back as soon as it possibly can, which is why Susan Lee made it clear her door is open, and so too is mine as the deputy. The more we can work together, the better. So much as there won't be a formal structure in place, we still need to cooperate together. You're right, I'm part of the LNP, the Liberal National Party in Queensland. And so it's key that as colleagues, National Party and Liberal Party colleagues in Queensland, we continue to engage, albeit not in a very formal sense. Now, the first part of your question, James, I have to get you to repeat.
Oh, would you run candidates against the Nationals in regional seats?
Oh, right, I remember that. Look, certainly when it comes to the state of Queensland, I don't see any possibility of that happening. When it comes to elsewhere in the country, of course, there will be discussions about that in due course, and it's not for me to make a comment on what the organisational wing will also have in mind. Keep in mind, if you can, James, that the Liberal Party represents all Australians. And so much as we do have a task ahead of us to ensure that we win back metro seats, suburban seats, we also have an enormous number of Liberal MPs representing regional and rural Australia. I myself am from a regional area, but there are many of my Liberal colleagues who are further out in rural communities too. And so as a Liberal Party, we represent all Australians. But again, we are at our best when we are working together with our national party.